then we would run out when patients got there. So, but if you do want to join the live chat, obviously, please feel free to do so. That's where all the energy lives. So, welcome. Hope you all, for those that were celebrating, had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. This is a big week here, and we're excited to dive in. So, let's get going. So, let's just go through some updates to begin the process, because our focus this week is on external marketing for the October campaigns, and I know that all of you always are looking for ways to get outside of your clinic and to bring in new people. And what we're going to discuss today are specific strategies around the October campaigns to help make that a reality. But before we do so, the Synduit dashboard is officially complete, and the team internally is going to be using it on your behalf this week. This means that over the course of this week, we are going to be implementing all of the October campaigns using the Synduit dashboard, as if we're you, logging inside of your website, going to the campaign library, searching for the campaigns that you're doing, picking the date, the time, the location, the special offer price, and then actually setting it up for you. This is our final round of testing. We figured we might as well test it with something real. At that point next week, we are going to have trainings throughout the week a few times set up for you and your staff to join. We will be sending out the schedule towards the end of this week with regard to when those trainings will actually take place. We absolutely encourage, I wish that I could say demand, that you attend at least one of those trainings, because we will completely acclimate you to how to use the system, and you'll begin to recognize how powerful this truly is. We also will be sending out videos to you, so just in case you can't make any training, the videos are going to be what we discuss at training, but the trainings are going to be a chance for you to also get your questions answered. So please be on the lookout for that. We're going to have a video set up that also teaches you how to integrate your Facebook fan page and your Twitter account, so that immediately when you create your campaigns, your social media posts are scheduled to be posted on your behalf, as opposed to you having to do it for yourself now. And it takes less than 5 minutes total to set up both Facebook and Twitter, and we have a video that will teach you how to do that once you gain access to your dashboard. In addition, we're going to enter all of you into a 30-day educational sequence. This is something that all of the new chiropractors that are joining from this moment going forward, they're going to experience, and we don't want existing tribe members to miss out on this. So we're just going to enter you into this 30-day sequence. Some of it might appear to be a little bit repetitive because you've learned it before, but it's not repetitive because you're a different person today than you were when you first learned it. So just dive into the resources that we share. You're absolutely going to love it. So these are the updates. We are really excited here. I mean, this is a huge unveiling. The amount of time and effort that went into building out this dashboard it's amazing. I mean, this was always the vision of what we were looking to achieve here at Synduit, and now it's manifesting, and chiropractors are going to be the first industry to benefit from it, and there's no better place to do that with. So get ready. It's really exciting, and you will begin to experience it for yourself starting next week. Dan, do you want to do some last-minute tips for the September campaigns in light of the external marketing initiatives?
So there are a couple things that we always recommend for any campaign, any kind of initiative from an external marketing standpoint. And the first thing that I want to talk about was when you think about external marketing, there are some pressures that you start to think about. You know, how am I going to reach out to a local business owner? What's that conversation going to look like? Am I impeding on his schedule? You know, all those kinds of sometimes worries, you know, sometimes excitement. And there's a really great way to handle this and to kind of plan out these things. And it really comes down to simply thinking about what that end goal is for yourself and visualizing what that looks like. So if you want to have 20 new patients by the end of the month, think about what that looks like in a very concrete sense. So think about them in your office, see them coming through your process, see them, you know, meeting your employees. Just experience that for yourself, and then think about how your relationship with the local business owner can drive that. And what are the interim steps that you need to initiate in your local community in order to actually see those 20 new patients come through that office. So once you have a really clear view of what that looks like and what you're going for in the end, those 20 new patients or 50 or whatever, then you can go out to this business owner, and you'll already be, 5 steps ahead of whatever questions they're going to ask because you've thought about it. You've had a really clear understanding of what it looks like. So when you send those letters, when you make those phone calls, when you sit down with them for dinner or for coffee or tea or whatever, then you exude confidence because you have this understanding of, this is our goal for the month, this is how we're going to achieve it. Do you want to, be on board and start to benefit from, our success as well? So that's something that a business owner, when they hear it, they're going to be really receptive to. So visualize what that looks like and use those end goals as a way to plan out and build your own confidence for those meetings and outreach to local businesses. The next thing I would recommend for you guys to do for any campaign that you're running in October is to blitz the community. That means putting up your banner, putting up flyers and posters. Make sure that you're using all of the different resources and print materials that have been supplied with each campaign to their fullest extent. Nothing's there that shouldn't be there. We design everything, with intention. So use those resources, put up the flyers, contact, very niche areas, niche organizations that would be willing to, number one, put up the poster, but that have the kind of audience that you would want to attract. So if it's a pediatric event, then go to the local kindergarten and put it up on the message board for parents when they come in to pick up their kids. Be creative like that, and we'll introduce a couple of those concepts today for individual campaigns. So those are the last-minute tips for September campaigns.
Awesome, great. So let's just talk about some successes and our challenges for the month, because this is all about collaboration. So I know there's only a few people that are on the live version. If you're just viewing, and I know the number keeps going up, if you want to join the live, just click on the first link that Dan posted, because that'll give you the chance to join the live conversation. In addition to that, if you have any successes or challenges that you want to share, then please feel free to send those over, and questions as well, because we always want to accept your questions. So Dr. Tompkins, if you're with us, any successes or challenges from the month that you would like to share?
Oh, how's my audio? Can you hear me?
There you go. Yeah, perfect. Yep.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. We had a fantastic month of September. We did the liver campaign, was our big one, and we were able to build relationships with lots of different people. We had lots of people show up at our workshop, and lots of people who weren't patients. Actually, most of the people that came to our workshop were people who weren't patients because of our blitzing the community, sending letters and communicating with midwives and doulas, and we had a great turnout. We had lots of people come in, and we had lots of new people. Our goal was 40 new patients. Between new patients and reactivations that actually started a program of care, I think we're at 43. Just a fantastic month for us, and yeah, just a big success. So thank you.
Awesome, great job, man. Thank you. You play all out always, so it does not surprise me, and it shouldn't surprise you. So good stuff. That's you are serving your community, and they are fortunate and blessed to have you. So thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Mike V, are you with us? Do you have anything you want to share from last month, successes or challenges?
Back to School was a great success. We had a lot of donations. We didn't. We kind of just promoted it as a way to give back to the community. We didn't really use it as much of a referral campaign, but it was just great to get good feedback and a lot of generosity. People were surprising us every day, bringing stuff in, and someone from the school's coming over today or tomorrow to pick everything up. But that was great.
Awesome, good stuff. Great to hear that. Great positive momentum. It's nice to do those social events where you're giving back. It just shows what you're all about, and all of you would do this. Like what's wonderful about this profession, and it probably also is what hurts the profession sometimes, is that you would give it away for free if you could. But obviously you need to attach a value to what you offer, so people take it seriously. And that's why doing these social type of experiences, it's so valuable, because it really gives people the chance to see what you're about, and that's always really exciting. So good job with that. So let's go full steam ahead. We have tons of stuff to share, so thank you for those success stories. So Dan, you want to do the recap of the last call, the little things that make a world of difference?
Sure. So there are a couple of things that we talked about last week. If you didn't see the if you didn't come in live or view the replay, it's available at synbit.com/replay. But just as a quick recap, the little things that make the world of difference are those kind of above and beyond gestures. Some of them are little chocolate on a pillow moments that you can do last minute that people kind of see and say, wow, they really thought this through. Or it could be, you know, how you formulate your pitch and how you actually introduce your service and what you do during a workshop or teleseminar, for example. So what we talked about in terms of a lot of universal marketing strategies, we're reaching out a day or two in advance of an event, like a workshop or a teleseminar, so that people are reminded of it, that you're holding them accountable. They feel, you know, obligated to you know, show up and actually attend the event. So calling them over the phone is the best option. Have your staff just reach out to a couple people every day as the event comes up to remind them what's going on and to encourage them and give them permission to actually invite their friends. So that's a really important element of this, is to explicitly ask them to bring some friends, because they sometimes make the assumption that that's inappropriate. Another little thing that makes a big difference is to have a surprise giveaway at the event itself. This could be in the form of, you know, a goodie bag or a surprise promotion at the end of a teleseminar, even a book. We talked about last week giving a book or a movie away at the end of the seminar. So, for example, with a doctored screening, if you have a couple copies of Doctored, you can give them away to everybody in the audience or hold a raffle to have people bring them home. We had a whole system around that you can go back and watch the replay for. The next thing is to target the perfect audience for your campaigns. We talk about this a lot, but it's really fundamental, and it's something that can easily get overlooked because you get so excited about a campaign. But when somebody comes into your office, you know what their challenges have been, you know what kind of journey they've had, and as such, you know what kind of campaigns are going to be great for them and which campaigns are not going to be great for them. So pick the ones that will be great for them and make them a recommendation, so that when they see all the, you know, say that you're running 3 campaigns at once, they don't, you know, they're not overwhelmed by the choices, or as soon as they see the flyers, they start wondering which one is good for them. You come in and say, hey, Jody, I would love for you to come to our delivered workshop. I know that you're expecting a child, and there's some really important information that you could learn. That's a tailored recommendation, and those kinds of you know, connections are very powerful for people. So make sure that you are thinking about what's perfect for each person and then making that recommendation to them explicitly. The last thing that I would really think about and give some thought to is do things outside the box. And we introduced a lot of the chocolate on the pillows last week. Those are outside the box thinking, you know, kind of items. We'll introduce a couple today, but when you're putting together an event, think about what is perfect for your culture and in your own office to do to kind of add your own spice to the event. You know, we can make some great recommendations on this end, but in the end, you have your own culture. You have a company that you've built and an environment that you've created that would be conducive to a really creative, interesting little, you know, gesture that would go really well with one of the campaigns you're running. So think about what that would be. For example, one thing comes to mind. One of the offices has a skeleton that they put up in the front office, and they dress it up every, you know, Halloween and every holiday to whatever theme, you know, is appropriate. So if it's St. Patrick's Day, he's got like a leprechaun costume. If it's Halloween, then obviously it's a skeleton, so, you know, they make him look scary. Those kinds of things are ways that you can implement that culture and that environment that you've created into your office around a certain campaign that you're running. So that's the last thing that I would recommend, is to think about what creative things that you can do and come up with that are really conducive to your own culture.
That's awesome, and just to give credit, that was Dr. Travis Cox. He's the one that has the skeleton that he dresses up each month, and it's awesome. He does like a video with it. It's really funny. So we'll try to find one of the previous videos. It's somewhere in the Facebook group, and we'll repost it so you guys can take a look and see it. So great job with that. And just for anybody that joined just recently, the conversation that Dan was just focusing on is what we spoke about last week, the little things that make a world of difference for the September campaigns. So let's keep going. So some reminders for this week. We have a timeouts on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, September 3rd at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And the topic, this is the conference call for your staff. The topic is balancing work and home life, which is going to be a great topic for them. So if they can't attend live, make sure they at least download the MP3. They will benefit immensely from it. And then Dan with the Business Pros is doing it at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. And the topic is going to be the best time management strategies for business owners. So this is awesome. I mean, he shared some insight around this with me this morning, actually. And I mean, this is dead on with regards to like what you guys will use in your clinic to manage your time and get more done in a shorter amount of time by delegating and a variety of other things as well. So if you can attend live for the Business Pros webinar, which is tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, then obviously please watch the recording. This will benefit you immensely. As always, send all emails to support@synpractic.com. We just consolidated email accounts. It'll allow us to respond in a far more timely fashion to all of you. So support@synpractic.com, and always post all questions, challenges, and success stories on Facebook. That's what it's there for. The power is in the pack. All right, it is time to dive into some external marketing strategies for the October campaigns. For anyone who this is your first call, you might say to yourself, we're talking about October, but September just started. Well, that's what big brands do, and that's why we're pushing you down that path. If you are doing September campaigns and you're new to SynPractic, just go to synpractic.com/replays, and you can watch any of the previous trainings where we dive really deep into the September campaigns. But now we want to look out into the future so that you're fully prepared and ready to rock it. So we always start each section with some universal marketing strategies. These are strategies that would apply to any of the campaigns, all 6 of them, but we don't want to repeat them every time. So instead, we're just going to share them initially, and then when it comes to the each of the campaigns, we talk about the fearless ideas that are unique to them. So some universal marketing strategies. One of them Dan mentioned before, but it's blitz the community. We really create an enormous number of resources for you, and we don't just create those resources so that you have large zip files to download. We create them so you can use them all, from the posters to the flyers to the save the date cards. What you're doing needs to be considered the thing in your community. I always use this as like an example, but I'm going to share it again because I haven't spoken about this in a while. There's an area in New York City called the Meatpacking District, and the Meatpacking District is a place where the hedge fund managers, celebrities, people go that have a ton of money and they want to party. There's clubs that have lines that wrap around the entire block. They have cover charges of $100 or more to get in, drinks are $25 and up, and people actually wait online to get into these clubs. And why do they do that? Well, it's because these clubs are the thing to do in that area. So people are waiting online, they're sought out to get in, and some of them don't even get in, they show up the next day and they wait again. What if you looked at your clinic that way? What if whatever campaigns you were offering each month, you truly considered them as the thing to do? Where you expected a line wrapping around your office, where you expected people bringing guests and showing up really excited about the experience. If you expect it and then you put in the effort and use all the resources that we've put together, you will see that manifest. So that's what it comes down to when we talk about blitzing the community. Another technique that we've seen perform very well, and we say this all the time, is we always include a letter with each campaign for you to add to one of those manila folders, and you can then have the manila folder sent in the mail to a manila envelope, to other businesses, and you put the letter with a few posters, and the letter says, hey, I'd love for you to post these posters in your business to build awareness around our events, and please feel free, and you would include another envelope in the envelope to send back any posters that you have, and I'll add them to my community corner. We have many offices doing this, and it's performing wonderfully for them, because all small business owners have the same goal. They want to serve the community. So when you can work together and truly collaborate, you'll see that everyone benefits as a result. Another technique, a universal marketing strategy, and we're going to dive into this one in particular with the fearless ideas, is partner, partner, and partner some more. If I was a chiropractor and I needed to build a clinic and I had this huge vision of the impact that I wanted to have, at least once every month, if not once a month, I would host an initiative, a campaign, with a like-minded business in the community where together we would achieve more. And you're going to see exactly what we were referring to as we progress. In addition, use the Facebook cover photo. We produce them for every campaign. Use them, change them out because you might be doing more than one campaign at one time. This is something that people will see. If you go to Tony Robbins' fan page, if you go to any of the big names, they're always changing their cover photo with whatever event's coming up. You should operate the same way. We create it for you. And finally, a universal marketing strategy is do what others don't even think to do. An example of this, and then we're going to really dive into the fearless ideas. I'm involved with this mastermind group. It's called the Genius Network Mastermind. And the guy that started the group, his name is Joe Polish. And there's about 150 people in this group. And it's a very high-level mastermind. And when he first started and he wanted to grow this, he was trying to think of different ways to attract high-level entrepreneurs to get involved with his group. And sending a postcard in the mail was not going to be the way to do it. So he needed to do what others don't even think to do. He went out and he purchased coconuts. He then put a stamp on the coconut that said, "Don't be a nut, join my mastermind," and they sent the coconuts in the mail to high-level entrepreneurs, which was the impetus to actually join the group. Now think about how logistically undesirable that is. Finding a place to buy over 100 coconuts, getting a stamp that will actually stay on the coconut, and then sending a coconut in the mail. It's completely undesirable. And guess what? No one would do it. No one would even think of it, and that's what you need to do if you want to have that type of impact. So obviously the coconut idea might be extreme, but the takeaway from this, the moral of the story, is do what others don't even think to do when it comes to external marketing. What other businesses can get involved? What relationship capital do you have? Really think about this stuff, and now we're going to dive into the fearless strategies. So the way that we break these up, and I'm going to turn it over to Dan for the first campaign, is with 3 areas. One is an immediate action. The immediate action is something that every single one of you should be doing. If you're doing the campaign, you need to do the immediate action. Then there's a fearless strategy. We know that probably 20 to 30% of you will do the fearless strategy because it's going to require you to possibly step outside your comfort zone. But we know if you do it, there's going to be exponential success from it. Like huge opportunities will be born if you pursue the fearless strategy. Our goal is that 100% of you do it because we're sharing it with you. And then finally, we're going to feature a particular resource or resources that you get in the campaign files. Because as you know, these campaign files are packed with dozens and dozens of resources. We want to highlight the ones that will prove to be the most beneficial when it comes to external marketing. So with that, Dan, why don't you run with Bang Head here, which is the ultimate stress workshop.
Cool. So like Jared mentioned, we're going to be splitting this into the 3 areas: immediate actions, fearless strategies, and featured resource. And the immediate action for this one is to reach out to whatever religious body you're affiliated with and schedule a meeting with whatever leader is in charge of the group, whether that's a pastor, a priest, or a rabbi. Schedule a meeting with them, sit down with them, and explain your motivation behind hosting this event. And basically have a conversation with them about the relationship between stress and the congregation, and brainstorm a strategy behind sharing this information with the congregation itself. Putting up posters, standing up in the at the end of mass or whatever when people get together. There is, and actually talk to people about this event and invite them and share information about it, so that you can start getting the word out to these religious organizations. And once you've done that once, you now have a blueprint to basically approach other groups and even engage your chiropractic evangelists in your own office, people who are totally on board and want to spread the word. They just don't really have the means to do so or knowledge to do so, and empower them and have them reach out to their own religious leaders and do the same thing that you did. So that would be the immediate action. Send out the letter that we provide for you and set up a meeting with them and start having that conversation. The fearless strategy for this workshop is to actually get on the news. Now, we've had a lot of DCs get on the news for many of the campaigns that we've run, and it's ended up being a really, really successful strategy. So this is what I want you guys to do for the Fearless strategy for Bang Hit here, is to get on the news, either an interview with a local television news station. That would be ideal. So that means, you know, reaching out to the station itself, explaining what you're doing, and requesting that they come and interview you during the event or before the event. That would be perfect. Another option is to get an interview done for the local newspaper, send them the press release, and get them knowing about this, and invite them over for an interview, and start opening that door so that they can start, you know, building a story around this. So that's the Fearless strategy. And the featured resources are a couple for this one, are the letter to the local religious affiliation, the press release, and the letter to the news station. So you can use all three of those to build awareness in your local community, both in your religious affiliation and the news station, to start, you know, getting people signed up who are outside your current circle of influence.
Awesome. Great job. So the next campaign is 5 Steps to Overcome Depression. This is a teleseminar or webinar, however you decide to do it. It's a great program. This was highly requested for. So the immediate action for this one is to definitely partner with a local expert that can work in tandem with you. This has the potential to turn into a massive referral source when you go down this path. So examples of local experts could be a child psychologist or a psychologist or a life coach, or even a personal trainer or a nutritionist or a health coach, or even someone who practices yoga, maybe they're a yogi, that has some background with regards to helping people cope with depression. It's a timely campaign because entering into holiday time is often when people experience the holiday blues. So it's a very timely program. The Fearless strategy is similar to the one that Dan just shared, but get on the news. Whenever there's anything that is condition-oriented, you have such a big opportunity to get on the news and share your side of the conversation. The news is always looking for this type of material. We've had dozens of chiropractors that have done this, where they use the letters that we've put together, they use the press releases, and they get press time for free, where the news comes out and they get interviewed on the subject because they're always looking for both sides of the story. So this would be another one where you truly can get enormous publicity around a topic that happens to be extremely relevant at this stage. The featured resource for this is both the letter to the news, and also we've put together a letter to the local expert. So when you begin to think through what expert you want to partner with, just use the letter and send it over to them so that they can begin to communicate with you, and then you can schedule a time to begin to brainstorm around doing this teleseminar or webinar. All right, and with that, we also create materials for the expert to use when it comes to marketing, and that's why it's great to partner with them, because they'll begin to promote this campaign to their database. So Dan, why don't you run with Chiropractic Health and Trivia Night?
Awesome, awesome. So Chiropractic Health and Trivia Night, that's a really cool one. If you guys are doing it, then start thinking about how you can partner with some local like-minded people of influence in your area. So this could come in the form of a nutritionist, a yogi, a karate school owner, teacher, a dance studio owner. These are really, it's an open invitation in many ways to people all in the health and wellness area. It'd be really cool to have up to 3 people at the event itself who are helping things go along. They're facilitating the event. Maybe they've sponsored it in some way, so people can either walk away with a freebie or giveaway, or that they've brought in something for people to use at the event itself. So that's the immediate action for the Health and Trivia Night, is to reach out to 3 people who you think are perfect for this this kind of event, and explain what you're doing, the motivation behind it, how they can benefit, and what the actual event is going to look like. The Fearless strategy for this one is to find a restaurant that you would want to host this in. This doesn't necessarily have to be in your office. You could reach out to a local restaurant, explain the event, and ask them to sponsor it in some way by catering it, obviously letting you use their space. And you can actually have the restaurant owner come up for the nutritional part of the trivia night and ask those questions, maybe give some fun facts along with it, so you can really get them involved and establish a strong relationship with that restaurant going forward. because as you probably know, restaurants are really great places for dinner workshops. So you can use that restaurant, use that relationship in the future if you wanted to host some kind of dinner workshop down the road. So that's a fearless strategy. Reach out to the restaurant owner, explain what you're doing, and this restaurant should definitely be in line with your philosophy. It should be a healthy restaurant, definitely not along the lines of a McDonald's, but something that's healthy and where people can get a really high quality meal. The last thing is a featured resource for this particular event is the letter to the businesses and the restaurant itself. So we provide you with that letter to reach out to the restaurant owner as well as the businesses, so you can get all that interest right out of the gate. Really today, if you wanted to, if you got those letters and sent them out. You could start establishing those relationships, having those conversations, and nailing down some details as to what the restaurant is going to do. I would even have the restaurant have some kind of pre-sorted menu or flyer that you could create that's available for a couple of weeks before the event, so people can see it and see that there's going to be something that's going to happen. You can even put a flyer inside their menu, so that when people come to their restaurant, they see that it's happening and you're reaching a new audience that way. So you can kind of play off each other. But that's the Chiropractic Health and Trivia Night. Why don't we're doing Halloween Harvest Hootenanny up next.
Yeah, I didn't even know what a hootenanny was until after this campaign. I've never even heard that term. But,
we had to explain it what a hootenanny was to him.
Yeah, this was I had no clue what this was. So, but the Halloween Harvest Hootenanny, this is an awesome Patient Appreciation Day. So much fun. Obviously, it's relevant during the month of October, since Halloween is approaching. I can't believe it's almost Halloween time. But the immediate action for this is to connect with the head of the Chamber of Commerce. We've given you a letter for this, and ask them to have their October meeting at your Halloween Harvest Hootenanny. The Chamber usually has thematic monthly type of gatherings for all of the members, which is the motivation that members actually stay involved, because there's opportunities to network. And this would be a great way to build a rapport with the Chamber and possibly host that meeting at your office or wherever you're going to host your Halloween Harvest Hootenanny, because now it's gaining exposure to other businesses, which are people that also have influence, and this has the potential to be huge for you, and it's super easy. All you need to do is just reach out with the letter. The fearless strategy is to connect with the local hayride and see if they would be willing to hang your banner across the hayride for a few weeks leading up to the event. So I'm sure many of you are like, all right, that's absurd, I'm not doing that. But think about it. What if they did it? Like, what if the local hayride said, yeah, sure, that's an awesome idea. This is a big party, and we've already created the banner for you, so you just need to get it printed. And now they hang the banner on the hayride, and I would assume that from now through October, there's probably going to be a few thousand people that are on that hayride exposed to the Halloween Harvest Hootenanny, which sounds pretty damn fun. So that would be the fearless strategy for those of you who are willing to conquer your fear and put yourself out there.
That's a coconut moment.
That is a coconut moment for sure. And if you do it, you better get some pictures and post it in the Facebook group. So that'll be awesome to share. And the featured resource is the letter to the Chamber, which is already produced for you, and the banner, which is your coconut. All right, Dan, go for End Someone Suffering.
So End Someone Suffering, the immediate action for this particular campaign is to reach out to whatever religious body you're affiliated with and schedule a meeting with whoever's in charge. This is the same thing that we were talking about before, because it's exactly in line with the motivations and the reasons for which you'd be hosting this event. So same kind of audience that you want to reach for this one. So reach out to that religious body and talk to the priest, talk to the pastor, the rabbi, and discuss whatever motivation lies behind this. So I don't want to repeat myself too much, but there are people in that congregation who are not only suffering with their health, but this is kind of a time of year filled with either loneliness or desperation, or there's some sort of suffering that they are experiencing that you can help and that you can alleviate. So reach out to the rabbi. Maybe if you're doing both campaigns, the End Someone Suffering and the Bang Head here, you can do them side by side. So that would be a really good opportunity as well. But have that conversation with the religious body and start start the conversation, see what you can do in terms of getting in front of the congregation and getting the word out about the event. So the fearless strategy for this particular one is to get on the local news because this is one of the events that you can create a community experience around. You can really blow it up, even more so than Banghead here. So create some kind of buzz around the community. This goes hand in hand with what we were talking about in blitzing the community. You can do this at the same time. What I'd recommend is that you guys reach out to the news stations and send the letters and press releases to the newspapers. But at the same time, have your staff really put up the flyers, reach out to whatever local business contacts you have, and put up the posters, send out the envelopes using the envelope technique, and talk to any kind of radio stations to maybe even do a spot. So use all those resources so you can blitz the community at the same time that you're reaching out to that news station and to the newspapers so that they see this community initiative going on at the same time that you're reaching out, trying to build buzz and get an interview done. So that's something you can do in parallel that will have a really positive impact on your likelihood of actually getting some publicity. Another recommendation I would have is if there are any local bloggers that you have in the area who talk about upcoming events, reach out to them, start a conversation. That usually involves just sending them an email over their blog. If they have a phone number on their blog, then that would work as well. But definitely get on the news, build up the awareness for this one. Featured resource is the letter to the local religious organization, as well as the news station and the press release. So use all three of those once again, because this is very much in line with Banghead here. You can use the same kind of strategies to reach out to that same audience who's looking for something in the same area. So I think we've got the last one, Healthy Little Pumpkins, right?
Yep, let's do it. So the immediate action for Healthy Little Pumpkins is to have a meeting with someone of influence at the local elementary school. So that could be the superintendent. It could be the principal. It could even be a teacher initially that opens up the door. Also a meeting at the local nursery schools. And build awareness around this through collaboration. Find ways to have these influencers work with you, where you now begin to build a collaborative network of other people who have the burning desire to support children the same way that you do. And that'll be a huge relationship for you. I know Dr. Tompkins, as a result of him doing the Delivered campaign, he had the chance to speak to, I don't know how many women it was, but a very large number of women that were expecting or thinking about going down that path. And that's a huge relationship, a huge conduit, a huge door was opened, and this is another possibility to do that as well. The fearless strategy is, and this is going to be another coconut idea, but go to the local pumpkin farm and see if they'd be willing to hang up your banner near the patch of pumpkins, where they hang it up in some capacity, or you go and you hang it up and on some poles, and you have this banner so that everybody can see it. Also see if they would be willing to give a save the date card to anyone who purchases a pumpkin. They have nothing to lose here, and there's a ton of opportunity with regards to having them get the message of health and well-being out to the community. So there's a very good chance they'd be open to that. It's just having the conversation and sharing what your vision is around this. In addition to that, oh, I like that idea. Dan just shared an idea with me quickly. Have kids also paint pumpkins and then line them up outside the office and around the street, and it depends how your office is set up. But that's another great opportunity because it's outside your clinic. People will see them and they'll say, what is this about? And maybe even consider putting like some type of stick inside the pumpkin with a save the date on it, or posters or flyers, something like that, so they see there's actually an event for children when it comes to raising healthy little pumpkins. Those are some fearless strategies for you. The featured resource is the letter to the school, which could be also used for a nursery school, the banner, and also the save the date card as well. So that concludes the external marketing, but now we want to open it up to questions. I have a few questions that have sprinkled in throughout, but we always give the opportunity to the people that are live to ask their questions first. So we will go around. Dr. Brad, I know this is your first session, but do you have any questions up to this point? You are on mute if you're trying to speak. Dr. Pierce, Dr. Emil, Mike V is all set, and Sean Walker. Any of you guys that are in the live, I have 4 questions that have been submitted, so I think they'll benefit all of you. But if you guys have any questions, just take yourself off mute. You can ask your questions, and we'll now to the questions that have been submitted. Sean, do you have a question? Looks like you're off mute now.
I don't.
Okay, cool, man. Welcome to the call.
Yeah,
so one of the questions is, how do you get...
hear your voice?
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. So one of the questions that was submitted, this is a great question. I think this is good, and maybe anyone else can share with us as well. How to get in touch with someone of influence at a school or a religious body. So how to actually make that happen. So I'll share what I would do, and then if anybody else wants to share, and Dan, if you want, I want to jump in, is I would just do it. So in my life, I have wanted to connect with many people of influence, and I just don't allow anything to stop me. So whether it's guessing their email address and sending the same email to 10 different people, whether it's picking up a phone and calling people that most think you can't call, whether it's building rapport with whoever the gatekeeper is for this individual, I just do whatever it takes to get in touch with that person. So when it comes to getting in touch with an influencer at the school or a religious body, what you need to check is, why do you want to do it in the first place? It's really not self-serving, if I had to guess. Like, I'm sure there obviously is a desire for you to grow your clinic, but if you were to remove that and get really deep, your desires have a bigger impact in the community. And if that's the dialogue that you're going to have with an influencer, why wouldn't they want to at least have a meeting with you to understand ways to work together? So the strategy is just to do it. It's literally to pick up the phone and call the assistant to the superintendent and say, hey, my name is Dr. John Doe, and I would love to set up a time to speak with the superintendent. I have ideas on ways to help the children and the teachers, for that matter, learn healthy habits so they can live a better quality of life. And I'd love to set up a 30-minute time just to go through that with them and share my vision of what's possible in this community. Or if it's the head of the religious body, you reach out and you introduce yourself if they don't know you, and it's the same dialogue. I have the vision of transforming the health of our community in an all-natural way, and I have ideas that I'd like to work with you in order to help the congregation. Why would they not want to do that? Like, it's obvious they would. But Dan, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would say that you can break down outreach to a local business owner in 3 different categories. One is that you and nobody that you know knows the person. The second one is that somebody you know knows the person, but you don't know the person personally. And the third one is that you know the person. So that latter category would be like if you're going to church and sometimes when the priest walks out the back, they're shaking hands and saying thank you and talking with people, chatting them up. You could introduce yourself or say how's it going, and then say, I would love to sit down with you. I have this amazing vision for the community, something I wanted to share with the congregation. Do you have time in your schedule to meet? And they'll probably say, sure, send me an email or call me. But that's your way in. That's a way that you can start that conversation, and then when you call, you can reference that connection. The second category of knowing somebody who knows that person is to be introduced to them. So you can basically talk to them if it's somebody in your practice, for example. Somebody in your practice knows the head of the local school. They know the local superintendent. Have them introduce you, or have them approach that person and say, hey, my chiropractor is on this amazing mission, for the community. They are really interested in this new, initiative, and they'd love to talk to you about it in order to work together. That's a way that you can use social proof and the trust that's associated between those two people to endorse you before you even cold call. So that would be another strategy in case you know somebody who can make that introduction. And then in the case that you don't know the person at all, you don't have any connections, use exactly what Jared was just talking about. Hail Mary emails and just guess their email address if you have to. In many cases, you can probably find it pretty easily online if they've got a website. So be creative and use whatever resources and relationships you have at your disposal to make that connection.
Great, awesome, great question for whoever posted that. I can't see who posted it, I just get them sent over. Another question that was sent over is, I've been turned down by my church in the past. Should I still approach, and what should I do differently? So I also don't know who posted that. But what you should do is go to simpractic.com/emolectual and watch that. I think it's like a 25 or 30-minute training, That's really what you should do differently. It just comes down to your communication technique. So the first part of the question is, should I still approach them? The answer is yes, you should still approach them if there's a desire to work with them. And the second part of the question is, what should you do differently? What you should do differently is engage them on an emolectual level. And if you go to simpractic.com/emolectual, there's like a 25-minute video that teaches you exactly how to do this. It's an amazing exercise for you to do, not just by yourself, but with your entire team. And it's a communication technique that will benefit you not only as a chiropractor, but as a human being. I mean, you can use this with your spouse or your significant other or your children. You're going to see that the relationships become even more exciting because now they're truly engaged and they get it. And we all know what the it factor is. The next question.
One other thing that I'd like to add
please.
is if you guys really want to kind of be an overachiever, is you can build an empathy map around that person or those types of people if you're trying to reach out to a group and figure out what kind of thing that you were what aspect of their life that you were overlooking that you can use as kind of an in and a connection in a conversation so that you can have a meaningful discussion. So all the different categories, what they say and do and hear and feel and experience on a daily basis, you can go through each of those questions and then answer them with brutal honesty so that you can then take that and use it in a discussion with them later. So that would be the overachiever method.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I love that. And you can actually learn about that at simpractic.com/6questions replay. And just so you know, both of those resources that we're just referring to, when you gain access to the Synduit dashboard next week, they live inside of your website. There is an entire academy called the Synduit Academy, and right now there's over 200 hours of videos and audios that are searchable inside of your website. So we will no longer direct you elsewhere. We'll just say, go in and search this, and you'll find it. Another question, which I think is a great question. What are some good places to find people who are suffering? Probably everywhere, if I had to guess. But birds of feather tend to flock together. So I would think about in your community, are there any groups that meet on a regular basis? Maybe there's groups that meet around, that are divorce-related groups or single-parent groups. And I'm not saying that every one of them is suffering, but there's a chance that that's what's bringing them together. I would see if there's any meetup groups around people of that nature as well, that might be singles or newly divorced or newly widowed or things like that, where there could be opportunities for you to connect and share what's possible when it comes to their lifestyle and their health. In addition, people that are suffering tend to go and speak with psychologists, or maybe they're going to, they recently joined a weight loss facility or something like that, and that would be a good partnership to build. But I would imagine that there's tons of places where people are suffering because unfortunately a lot of the world is suffering, and I would just put yourself out there and build awareness around this, and doing things like the news or press release would benefit you well. Dan, do you have anything else you want to add?
I would say, any kind of what's the word? Not rehab, but Alcoholics Anonymous. Those are kind of groups that meet when people are acutely aware that they are in pain and they're making a concerted effort to recover. I would really pay attention to those kinds of groups because that's really your ideal audience, because a lot of people are in pain, but they don't recognize they're in pain. So that's a journey that you have to kind of get them to realize. Such as if they're stressed out and they're just moving so fast that they don't recognize it. That's a whole different conversation. But if somebody is stressed out and they're actively seeking methods of becoming less stressed, such as meeting up at a meetup group or seeing a therapist, those are signs that they're ready and willing to take action to really take care of their problems. So look for those kinds of groups where people are making a concerted effort to start, improving.
Awesome. Great job. And the final question that was sent to me, and there might be others, you guys please post them in Facebook so we can make sure we stay on track with our time. But for the trivia night, do you recommend prizes? And I highly recommend prizes. This is a great collaborative effort where you can connect with other like-minded businesses. There's a chance they would even donate prizes for exposure. So definitely have some fun prizes and have them won throughout the night and get them in advance so that, and when we talk about internal marketing, we talk about pattern interrupts and anchors. You can have the prizes set up in the office so people can see what the prizes are. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it builds awareness around it. So definitely recommend prizes, and I recommend partnering with businesses who will donate their products/services as prizes. So it doesn't cost you anything, and instead it actually builds a new relationship that has a chance to turn into something so much greater than just that. So awesome, great questions, those who have posted them. There might be others, but I told the team to stop sending them over because it was getting a little distracting, and instead post them on Facebook, and if anybody did send questions, we will respond to you individually. In closing, next week, we'll meet on Monday. This was only Tuesday because of the holiday yesterday, but next week we are going to focus on internal marketing for October campaigns. So this is where we dive into pattern interrupts and anchors. These are always fun and crazy. Shout out to some active Facebook participants, Karen Jaff, Lee Pierce, Nick Weigel and team, Emil Tompkins, Mike Doty, Nicole Rothman, and many others. Great job using Facebook as a means of connection and communication. Continue to do that. That's what it's there for. Remember, the power is in the pack. Send questions. All questions, whether it's website related, SynMind related, marketing related, send questions to support@sympractic.com. We're just bringing everything together so that we can support you easier. It'll be just a better place for us to do that. Some closing thoughts. Get ready for the dashboard. This is a really big deal. I know we've talked this up for the past couple months, and you're only a few days away from gaining access to it. We're just doing our final round of testing by using it as if we're you, and then next week we're going to have training set up throughout the week for you to benefit from. So make sure you look for the emails with the training schedule, and then try to at least jump on one and have your staff jump on as well, because this is definitely something that they can do for you. The doctors don't have to be the ones actually using the dashboard. Your staff can use it. And then in addition, just as one final thing, I started the Project Chiropractic interviews last week. I think I did 3 or 4 of them so far. And all I can say is, wow. I mean, these stories of transformation they give me the chills, just having the dialogue with each of these candidates. One of them was this 13-year-old girl that had seizures for her entire life, like 50+ seizures a day, and now she has none because of chiropractic. And she talked about what her life is like now that she's under care, and how she encourages all parents to consider bringing their children in for care. I mean, it's the ultimate testimonials, and this is going to be an amazing PR campaign for the profession. So be on the lookout for that. That won't happen until the end of September, beginning of October, maybe even the middle of October. I want to make sure that it's done right, and we really are able to just sink our teeth into what's possible, because these interviews are even better than I anticipated. So as always, we're going to end with a final quote. So let me just share my screen with you. And you can click on me so you can see it. And the final quote is from Steve Jobs, and the quote is this: "Innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower." So why this quote? Well, when we talk about marketing, we always focus on do what others don't even think to do. And you can also define that as innovation. So you see with the campaigns, we do so much for it. I mean, from all of the resources done and customized, to the blueprints where we lay everything out, to the video trainings, to the SynMinds. But true innovation is something that you take, where you take these ideas, you take these resources, and then you add your own flavor to it, and you innovate on it, and then as a result, you truly lead. So don't be afraid to adapt. Don't be afraid to add your own flavor to it, and then always post it in the Facebook group so that everyone can benefit from your innovation. So once again, innovation distinguishes between a leader and a follower. We want to thank everybody for your time. Awesome session. It's the beginning of another month. Keep in mind, there's only a few months left this year. How do you see this year ending? What are you going to do to make this the biggest and most exciting close of your entire year? I know here at SynPractic we have some big things that are going on that are going to make this massive for all of you. But what are you going to do in your clinic? How many people, quantify it, are you going to serve between now and the end of September, between now and the end of the year? Begin to objectively measure this and watch what happens. It will truly manifest. All right, everyone, have a great week, and we will speak with you next Monday at 1:30 Eastern Time. Thank you so much.